6:17 a.m., Northern Pacific Corridor. The aircraft wasn't broadcasting, it wasn't requesting clearance, and it wasn't turning back. A Russian long-range strategic bomber cruised through international airspace, steady and deliberate. Its flight path stayed legal, but intentional. This wasn't navigation, it was signaling. 6:20 a.m., U.S. radar grid activation. A Pacific-based early warning site caught the return first. Large signature, heavy airframe, high-altitude cruise profile. The identification didn't take long. Russian bomber platform. Confirmed. The report moved fast through the network. Moments later, fighters were ordered airborne. 6:24 a.m., wheels up. At a coastal U.S. air station, two fighters roared off the runway within minutes of the alert. The pilots already knew the drill. Approach, identify, shadow, do not escalate, routine. 6:29 a.m., closing distance. The American jets climbed aggressively, radar sweeping ahead. They didn't lock weapons. They didn't broadcast threats. They simply made their presence known. Soon, the bomber came into visual range. Massive wings stretched across the morning sky. The fighters split formation and slid into flanking positions. 6:32 a.m., silent exchange. Russian aircraft, you are being monitored. Maintain safe heading. No response. The bomber stayed steady. No sudden turns. No aggression. No acknowledgement. But something subtle shifted. 6:35 a.m. Electronic change detected. Inside the U.S. cockpit, warning indicators flickered briefly. Not a missile lock. Not targeting radar. Something else. A low-level electronic pulse brushed across their systems. Back at command, analysts noticed it too. Emission profile just changed. To what? Not sure yet. 6:38 a.m. Deliberate maneuver. The bomber adjusted altitude by a narrow margin. Not unsafe, not threatening, but intentional. The American pilots compensated instantly, maintaining position. He's checking our response time, one muttered. 6:41 a.m. Tension rises. Another signal spike. Short, controlled. The message was clear. The bomber had reach. The fighters had discipline. Neither side blinked. 6:43 a.m. The unexpected variable. Then radar painted something new. Fast. Extremely fast. Descending from high altitude. It wasn't American, it wasn't Russian, and it was closing quickly. Both fighters saw it at once. New contact detected. The bomber's electronic output surged at the same moment. Then, everything went quiet. 6:44 a.m. Total sensor disruption. Cockpit displays cleared instantly. No targets, no radar returns, no data overlays. Just sky. The aircraft were still flying, but blind electronically. The U.S. pilots switched to visual spacing. The Russian bomber remained in sight, but its radar dish had frozen mid-sweep. 3 aircraft. Zero sensor awareness. 6:45 a.m. Command center scramble. In U.S. operations rooms, confusion spread. No jamming source. No cyber intrusion. No hostile lock. In Russia, the report was identical. System loss. No external attack signature. This wasn't aggression, it was control. 6:46 a.m. A message appears. On both U.S. fighter displays, text flashed briefly, "Stand down." No source tag. No encryption header. On the Russian bomber, the same directive appeared, translated flawlessly. The pilots exchanged short glances inside sealed helmets. No one spoke publicly, but no one ignored it either. 6:48 a.m. Controlled airspace without ownership. The unidentified contact hovered at extreme altitude, unreachable. The air felt frozen in place. For nearly a minute, no aircraft maneuvered aggressively. Weapon systems remained powered but inaccessible. Targeting computers refused to initialize. It was as if someone had quietly disabled escalation itself. 6:50 a.m. Strategic posture shifts. Reinforcements launched from both nations, but they held distance. No side dared approach too closely. Above them, the unknown object drifted slightly, as if overseeing compliance. 6:52 a.m. Demonstration of superiority. Without warning, sensor clarity returned, but enhanced. Every radar contact sharpened. Every atmospheric distortion vanished. The sky appeared perfectly mapped. Then the enhancement disappeared again. It wasn't interference, it was demonstration. 6:54 a.m. Mutual realization. Inside the U.S. jet, this isn't Russian. Inside the bomber, this isn't American. No one needed to finish the thought. 6:56 a.m. Disengagement. The American fighters peeled off first, widening their orbit. No sudden acceleration, no aggressive banking. The bomber adjusted heading gradually, a subtle return path forming. The unidentified presence remained motionless above. 6:58 a.m. Final directive. The cockpit screens flashed one final time. Intercept concluded return to base. Then the high-altitude contact accelerated vertically, vanishing in less than a second. No heat trail, no sonic shock, just absence. 7:02 a.m. Aftermath. Weapon systems unlocked. Radar fully restored. Threat receivers quiet. The U.S. fighters turned toward home. The bomber reversed course toward Russian airspace. Official reports would later describe the event as professional and routine. They were neither. Classified reviews, unreleased. American analysts, no evidence of hostile jamming. Russian analysts, no unauthorized breach detected. Both reached the same conclusion privately. Control wasn't lost. It was temporarily overridden. Strategic consequences. Intercept doctrine quietly changed. Escalation thresholds tightened. Air patrol patterns adjusted. No public announcement followed. But inside military circles, the lesson was clear. There are moments when superpowers confront each other, and there are moments when something else steps in. Two American jets shadowed a Russian strategic bomber. It should have ended as another routine intercept. Instead, it became a reminder that sometimes the sky answers to no nation at all. 7:05 a.m. Airspace clears. The sky looked normal again. 3 aircraft had occupied the corridor minutes earlier. Now, only contrails faded against the upper atmosphere. But inside command centers, the air felt heavier. No one spoke casually. Data logs were already being isolated for review. 7:12 a.m. Signal reconstruction. U.S. analysts replayed the sensor blackout frame by frame. No jamming spike, no frequency overload, no intrusion pathway. The disruption hadn't forced its way in. It had simply overridden. Across the ocean, Russian technicians reached the same conclusion. 2 separate militaries. One identical anomaly. 7:25 a.m. Pilot debrief begins. Inside a quiet room at the coastal air station, the 2 American pilots removed their helmets. What did you lose first? Data link. Same. They compared timelines. The blackout wasn't gradual. It was instantaneous. Like someone flipping a master switch neither nation knew existed. 7:40 a.m. Strategic channel activated. High-level communication lines between Washington and Moscow opened discreetly. Not public diplomacy. Military to military, professional, controlled. Both sides asked the same question indirectly. That wasn't you, correct? The responses were equally measured. No. 8:10 a.m. Silent policy review. Escalation protocols were temporarily paused, not officially, but operational commanders issued quiet guidance. Maintain greater distance during future intercepts. Avoid electronic probing. Do not pursue unknown high-altitude contacts. No announcement followed, but the rules had shifted. 9 a.m. Psychological assessment. Military power depends on certainty. Radar certainty. Command certainty. Response certainty. For exactly 4 minutes and 20 seconds, that certainty vanished. Not destroyed, not attacked, simply suspended. And that subtle difference changed the strategic weight of the event. 9:30 a.m. The third variable discussion. In classified briefing rooms, a phrase began circulating quietly. The third variable, an uncontrollable factor capable of intervening between 2 superpowers without firing a shot, not allied, not adversarial, just superior in one critical domain. Control of the electromagnetic battle space. 10:15 a.m. Mutual realization. American analysts concluded this wasn't Russian capability. Russian analysts concluded this wasn't American capability. The symmetry was impossible to ignore. For the first time in decades, both sides experienced the same vulnerability at the same moment, and neither had caused it. 11 a.m. Official narrative prepared. Public statement draft. Routine intercept conducted in accordance with international norms. Professional, predictable, forgettable, and intentionally incomplete. Final entry, classified timestamp redacted. Control wasn't lost that morning. It was demonstrated by something that chose not to escalate. 2 American jets shadowed a Russian strategic bomber. That part was real. What followed wasn't war. It was a reminder. There are moments when superpowers confront each other, and there are moments when something else controls the sky.